Aloha, it's Kiana, and today I will be answering your questions regarding my solo trip to Hawaii. But before we get started, yep, that's what I'm dealing with this morning. A lot of noise, so I hope you can understand what I'm saying. I'm gonna try my best to only record when they're not talking. All right, let's get into the questions. So first off, why Hawaii as your first solo travel? So I've actually been traveling with friends internationally since 2018. I've been to South Korea, Japan, Greece, Taiwan, and Mexico. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, and the Philippines, which is where I'm originally from. And I've enjoyed every single one of them. I've never really considered traveling domestically. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, a lot of our travel plans were put on hold, and so I didn't have much options as to where to go. But I'm so glad that I picked Hawaii as my first solo travel. Okay, so why Hawaii? Why not Hawaii? Oh my gosh, you won't believe it. I was very ignorant before. That whenever I think of Hawaii, I always think of it being expensive, and I always think of Waikiki. And my decision to travel to Hawaii actually came from my love of plants. It's true. I started collecting back in October of 2019, so just right before the pandemic. And in 2020, my obsession and addiction with collecting houseplants just grew and grew. I was very into rare plants, and you know who else is into rare plants? Redmond Rock. So yeah, I binge watched a lot of his videos, especially at the start of the pandemic. That's what made me realize like a lot of these rare plants came from Hawaii. So why not I go to Hawaii and actually see them, you know? And I did. And I can't believe I'm saying this, that the reason why I chose to go to Hawaii is because of plants and because of Redmond Rock. Unfortunately, I didn't see him when I visited, but maybe next time. And as I started doing more research about Hawaii, I started learning and discovering that there are far more places to go to and a lot more things to do in Hawaii other than Waikiki. But why did I solo travel? I don't know. It kind of just dawned upon me that why don't I try solo traveling for once? But also because my friends who I travel with, they live in the Philippines, and it's just harder with the ongoing pandemic to see each other, to travel together. And with my boyfriend, he's currently in pharmacy school, so I can't travel with him either. And you might be asking, why not with your family? Yeah, we can, but the type of traveling that I do, the style of traveling that I do, where I just like to explore and do and eat and just go to places as much as I can, it's not the right fit. So that's why I decided to do it all by myself, and I'm glad that I did. It's a very life-changing trip. All right, moving on. How long was your trip? Did you feel like it was too short, long, or just the perfect amount of time? Been loving your videos. So thank you. Supposed to be, my trip was gonna be 11 days in Oahu and 3 days in Hawaii, but so a total of 14 days, 2 weeks, right? But my now future brother-in-law also planned for his proposal that same weekend that I was supposed to leave for my trip. So I decided I'll just cut it to 10 days. That's okay, it's fine. And 10 days, I'd say, is super duper enough to go and explore the whole island. Never ever did I get bored. There was always something to do. And if I were you, I would just not stay in Waikiki. Or yeah, you can stay in Waikiki. Just go out and explore everything there is in Oahu. There's now a dance party. There's now a dance party out there, guys. How was driving in Hawaii compared to the mainland? Gas prices? Okay, so driving in Oahu was actually not bad. It's the first out-of-state place that I drove in. Oh, actually, oh my gosh, I just realized I also drove in Mexico. Yeah, so, but here in the US, it's the first out-of-state place that I drove in. And they have several freeways and highways. Their roads are in good condition and majority of the roads are well lit at night. Now in terms of traffic, I actually did not experience that much. Probably because I was waking up very early each morning, making sure I have a solid plan of what to do, and also knowing the rush hour times. I also say that there were a lot less people visiting the island because of the pandemic, and I believe during the time that I went, that's when they just started implementing the requirement of proof of vaccination and or a negative test. So that made a lot of tourists, you know, change their minds about going to Oahu. For the most part, I found that the people over there were very friendly on the road. In terms of gas prices, I rented a Prius over there, which is also the same car that I use here. Regarding gas prices, I rented a Prius over there, which is the same car that I use on a day-to-day basis. And Prius, as most people know, saves a lot of gas. So it was a smart move. In comparison, I would pay about $20–25 for a full tank here in Albuquerque. And over there, it was about $40–45 for a full tank. Hi again, how did the car rental go? I believe you rented Turo, right? Yes, I rented via Turo. It was a very easy process for me. It was my first time using Turo, and I was very satisfied. Whenever I rented cars in the past, it was, you know, the typical car rental at the airport, and I didn't really like it because oftentimes they would give me a different car or have additional fees on top of renting the car. So that's why I decided to try Turo. And with Turo, there's a lot of transparency when it comes to the total cost of the vehicle that I actually want to rent. So I rented the car for 10 days for a total of $1,008. I knew it was going to be expensive due to the car rental shortage, but I think it was worth it. The only setback was because at that time I was under the age of 26. Turo has some kind of young driver's fee. It was $300, so it was supposed to be just $700. So with the $300 added, it got to $1,000. Who took your pictures when you were there? I did, and I cannot believe that I was able to do all the things I did. I vlogged, I took lots and lots of pictures, and I also was having the best time of my life. Self-timer was definitely my friend. And one thing that I like to do before traveling and going to these places is checking Pinterest and even Instagram for some inspiration, post ideas, and they help a lot. And I also hired a photographer for a photo shoot for 1.5 hours, just in case if I end up not liking any of my self-timed pictures. Now, I know taking photos of yourself by yourself in public can be challenging and scary because people will look and judge you, but you just gotta do it for the gram and for the memories, of course. All right, next one. If you can only choose 3 things of the things you did, what 3 things would you recommend for first-time travelers to Oahu? I would definitely suggest going to a luau. Come on, you cannot go to Hawaii without going to a luau. Luaus are traditional Hawaiian feasts that are accompanied by entertainment. I went to the one at the Polynesian Cultural Center and I had a blast. It's a full day thing, but there are a lot of other options, a lot of other luaus that you can go and attend to if you don't have that much time to spend. Second, definitely go to the North Shore. The North Shore is amazing, you guys. There are tons of things that you can do over there. For one, I went skydiving for the very first time. They have tons of food trucks with great food. They have the Bonsai Pipeline, which is the most famous surfing spot in the world. And the best part, they have the best sunsets that I've seen during my trip. So I went to Sunset Beach, my first night at the North Shore, and I also had a bird's eye view of the sunset when I hiked the Ehukai pillbox. Please do yourself a favor and check out the North Shore of Oahu. Third, I'd suggest to go for a swim in one of the beaches at the windward side of the island. So I went to Kailua Beach and Lanikai Beach. I also checked out Sherwood Beach at Waimanalo, and between you and me, it's the best one that I've seen while visiting the island. You get to enjoy the turquoise blue waters and it's not crowded at all. Was there ever a moment in your trip that you felt scared or alone, or wishing someone else was there with you? Yes! That one time when I hiked to watch the sunset. So it all started when I went to the Polynesian Cultural Center. I got into a conversation with one of the locals. He actually dances at the PCC and he lives at the North Shore. I was asking him, where is the best place to watch the sunset? And he told me, go to Ehukai Pillbox. It's a local secret. Not a lot of people do this hike. And I was like, great, I want to go and check it out, you know? I don't like crowds, so yeah, I'll do it. So I did. It's literally across the Bonsai Pipeline, and there were narrow trees, some eroded roots, and tall grass. There was like a man-made stairs, making it easier to reach the top, and it's like a somewhat clear path leading to the pillbox. Okay, so I reached the top. When I got there, there were probably around 3 groups of people coming and going, checking out the place, and I stayed. I wanted to stay because I wanted to see the sunset from way up there, like a bird's eye view of the sunset. The sunset was beautiful, it was magnificent, but then as the setting of the sun was about to end, I quickly realized that it's gonna get super dark pretty soon. So I did not rush, like I was trying to calm myself down, but I can sense that I was sweating a lot because I was scared. Luckily, my phone was 100% charged, so I was using it as a flashlight. However, the cell service there was not great. So as I was heading down, I came across this young lady in like active wear. She was jogging up the mountain. She greeted me, she said hi, I said hi back. And you know, I was still struggling going down. I was like finding my way down. So I just kind of followed where she went. And then minutes later, she was now heading down the mountain. I was asking her, hey, is this the right way? She did not look at me at all. She was just like jogging down. And I was like, oh my gosh, did she not hear me? So I spoke in a louder tone. I said, hey, is this the correct way to go down? And it was as if she did not hear me at all. So I was like, ooh, super creeped out, right? I then heard people, they had a flashlight on, but I wasn't sure whether they were going up or down. So I just followed the light. And at the end of all of this, they were a couple and they too were lost. I made it out of there alive. I was about to pee myself. Like, After that hike, after I got into my car, I rushed to a grocery store and peed because I was that terrified. Other than that, I felt safe the whole time that I was there in Hawaii. When are you going back and what else would you like to do there? I'd like to go back as soon as I can. But I did promise my boyfriend that the next time I go and visit, I would take him with me. He was low-key jealous of all the food I ate, the sights that I saw, especially the beach, because we live in a desert here in New Mexico. So yeah, whenever that chance will come, I'll take it. I know I did a lot already the first time I went, but I have a list here of things that I still want to do. So I want to hike to a waterfall, see more turtles, because the first one, I only saw a turtle while I was kayaking in the ocean, you know, so it doesn't really count. I also want to visit the museums like the Bishop Museum and Iolani Palace and learn more about history and culture. Pearl Harbor. What else? Learn how to surf in Waikiki. And oh my gosh, I have one more. I want to try to do shark cage diving in the North Shore. I didn't want to do it the first time because I didn't want to lose a limb the first time I visited Hawaii. So I went skydiving instead. But yeah, definitely I want to do that the next time I visit Oahu. Do you regret not doing or eating something specific from your trip? So like I've mentioned before, I really wanted to hike to a waterfall, but because I did not know that Waimea Valley is closed on Mondays, I did not get to do that. Of course, there are other waterfalls that you can check out throughout the island, but I chose that specific one because of its historic cultural significance and because you can swim in the waterfall. I also wanted to visit Iolani Palace. I just didn't have the time to do so. Next time I visit, I want to explore the west side of the island. Some of the most untouched beaches are located over there, but I was advised by my friends and some locals not to go there alone. So yeah, not on my solo trip. In terms of food, I really wanted to check out Duke's, which is this very well-known spot in Waikiki. I was going to go there the night before I left, but unfortunately I was super duper tired and I just slept. I also did not get to try lau lau, which is this Hawaiian dish that is cooked taro leaves wrapped around some type of meat like pork, fish. I think they also do it with like coconut cream inside. So next time I definitely want to try that Hawaiian dish. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you so much for those who have sent in their questions, and thank you for watching this video. If you have more questions, please feel free to comment them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't seen my solo travel to Hawaii series, I'll leave a link over here or here, I'm not sure, but I'll link them all down below. Thank you so much. Mahalo!